Hello, this is Shankar, and I I'm making this video after a long time, um, perhaps due to certain preoccupation and work, maybe sheer leisure, and some competing priorities. So today I took this. I'm taking this subject of Moon and Mars conjunction. It is a conjunction which is uh, there in a lot of horoscopes. It is there in the horoscope of the Prime Minister of India. It is also there in the horoscope of a lot of other people. It is talked very high. It is supposed to be a good combination because people say that Moon is like a mother, Mars is the commander in chief. But the Mars, as a commander in chief, works for the Sun. And Sun is Sun. Sun is the king. So that's how it's a good combination. But if I have to explain you this combination, then it is like moon. Moon is milk and Mars is honey. So it is milk and honey together. But now this milk and honey together does not mean that it will always give you very good results. And here I do not mix people with Rashis, I talk about houses. And what I try to explain is what I have experienced in my about doing astrology for over 40 years. My father was an astrologer, Mr. Kailash Chandra, and he was a very senior bureaucrat, a very well-known astrologer. That time astrology was not this kind of, it didn't have, it was between people, and it was, it was, it was something which was, जिसकी आप पूजा करते थे, something used to worship, and I do that the same. It's not a hobby for me. It's a subject of research. It's divinity for me. And my father, Mr. K. N. Rao, Rao uncle, we used to call him, and Mr. Goel, so on and so forth. A lot of them used to gather and do astrology, where I used to be there listening to them, and that's how I understood astrology, started reading it, and Jyotishacharya, and I've written a lot of books. You can go to my site, shankarstudy.com. You can write to me at 9818733000 if you have any query. If you want to ask a serious question, you can at my blog, askshankar.com. But then these are also good for me because they help me in research, but they should be serious queries. I do not study charts, I do not charge, I am not a professional. It is always said that you should always take something for what you give, but and that is a fact which is written in all, कि आपको दक्षिणा जरूर लेना चाहिए, and that is written in all books, in the Vedas. But then it's not only money, it's, I think, the good wishes of people, the energy which flows also makes a difference, and thus I do it this way. Someday, if somebody, comes to me with fruits and etc., I do accept. That is something which I do very rarely. But this is my take on astrology, and I've given you a brief about myself. I start about this conjunction of Moon and Mars together. Whenever Moon and Mars, I've explained you, is a good thing to have. Milk with honey, a very good thing to have. Now, Moon and Mars, when I'll specifically tell about houses, and these don't go wrong. You have to see what is the impact of this. Whether you're looking at the horoscope of a rickshaw puller or whether you're looking at the horoscope of some billionaire, you have to see how will it impact and how does it change. We are all born with a balance sheet. When we are born with a balance sheet, and the balance sheet also tells you the depth, length, breadth, and depth of the utensil you're born with. So that is the capacity of water you can hold. But It is your karma which is important, the lust to do something, to achieve, to go ahead, and without that, nothing happens. Prarabdha, your work can also change destiny because that is all about your thought. So with this, I talk about Moon and Mars together. Moon and Mars together in the first house is very good. Aspected by Sun, one of the best combinations to have. It can make you a minister, it can make you, give you all the insignia of aristocracy. It can put you in a position where you are honored, where people look upon you. You are a king. You are a king, helped by Moon, which is like mother, intelligence. It's also queen, and by Mars, which is the executioner, commander-in-chief. So Moon and Mars, when aspected by Sun, one of the excellent horoscopes to have, but it all depends upon how strong your Mars is. If the executor is not strong, what the king will do. The commander-in-chief is not strong, how much a king can do and what it can do. So you have to see those things which are important. And or if your Moon is negative, it has got the negative traits in it, then what can Sun do? So you have to see that aspect. in उस परिपेक्ष में देखना चाहिए आपको, तो वो ज़रूरी है. So that, but Moon and Mars aspected by Sun is good. Moon and Mars aspected by Venus is not good. It leads to a person who's over emotional, who has a wavering and a vacillating mind, cannot take decisions, will not stick to a particular issue, can get swayed to the negative things of Venus. Negative things of Venus could be drugs, could be drinks, could be enjoyment to any other extent. Woman is again typified with Venus. So Moon and Mars aspected by Venus, and Moon makes a person very emotional. If the Moon is not strong and it's midway, it can sway you either way, and you'll be unable to resist things which can create a downfall. So Moon and Mars aspected by Venus is not good. Moon and Mars aspected by Mercury would make you a wise person. You can make a person a millionaire, but he will not be a millionaire. It is a sure combination where you have the wisdom. Wisdom again, to what extent would depend on various other things, on the strength of the planets. But yes, it will make you wise, but does not guarantee you money. That's important. Remember that. Does not guarantee you money. Moon and Mars aspected by Saturn is not good. It creates a lot of issues because Saturn and Mars do go well in the present scheme of things. You have to see Desh Kal Patra. Saturn and Mars makes a person who can fight, who can change, who can leave, who can walk away. Actually, Saturn and Mars people, they can walk away very fast from a particular situation and starts things afresh. So it is there. But Moon there with Saturn is not good. It forms a kind of a poison. It poisons your thought, poisons your mind, which makes you make a lot of mistakes, especially when Saturn is there, a combination which governs your entire profession, your actions, your karmas, then it is a problem there. So that is how Moon and Mars in the first house aspected by various planets. Moon and Mars in third house, excellent, good for wealth, a rich person, wealthy person, bold person, moves forward like a bold man. He's like, the person, and people look at his personality. He will have richness, he will have everything. What materialistic things which will give him. But a person not to be relied on, will not be a good person, will not be a person with a character who is not bothered about anybody. He is only bothered about himself. He will not be bothered about anything. I leave it to you, whether it is good or bad in the present things. Moon and Mars in the fourth house, very good. Fourth house is basically the house of moon. It has got the energies of moon. Mars being there pulls it down, but moon and Mars together in fourth house will give you domestic, it will give you houses, flats, property. It is good for emotional scenes in your house. Also, after some ups and downs, gives you domestic peace, enjoyment, so on and so forth. You like good things of life, you like decorating your house, etc., etc. But if this moon and Mars is aspected by Saturn or Mercury, it will reduce the impact and in fact be negative for all the things which I have told you just a while ago. So moon and Mars alone in fourth house good, but Saturn and Mercury conjunct moon and fourth house or aspecting from the 10th house is not good, though Saturn in 10th house has its own advantages. So I'm not saying that it will not be good for money. Saturn and Mercury in 10th house, or Saturn alone in 10th house, or Saturn and Mercury in the 10th house makes you a person who has money, who can change himself very fast. चापलूस बन सकता है अपना काम कराने के लिए. He can become a very nice man. He can become a very tough man, but professionally he'll do well. But where I'm talking is in the fourth house is about domestic peace, happiness, love, emotions, actual. Because whenever you have Saturn there and looking at Moon and Mars, there could be a camouflaging of things, but certainly it will impact your domestic peace in some way. It will impact your happiness. It will impact, you're increasing your wealth exponentially in terms of property. That's very important. So these are things which you can, easily see in a horoscope as soon as you see it. Saturn, Moon and Mars in 7th house is very good, makes you rich. But I will tell you later a caveat which you should always remember. I'll tell it towards the end of the video. Moon and Mars in the 10th house, it's again not good for the person, because people do glorify Jupiter. Energies of Jupiter are maximum in the 9th house. Jupiter and Moon, they say Gajkeshri Yoga. Jupiter and Mars are not good. Jupiter and Mars lead to conflicts in partnerships. Now partnerships can be people generally take it with your wife, with your relationship. But relationship is not only with wife, relationship is the key for everything in life. Let it be business, let it be home, let it be the road. So it spoils relationships. And when relationships are spoiled, person doesn't rise much. So Moon and Mars today, with Jupiter there, may give you money. It can give you money from, which you have inherited. You have a good house to stay, you may have a car, you may have, the good things of life are there. But it's not good for you. It can put you into scandals unnecessarily, and it can also put you into various relationship issues, leading to various other things. If it is aspected by other negative planets, it can create other things also. So it's people glorify Moon and Mars in 9. I have not seen it to be very good. But yes, it is very good for your child. It is very good for your progeny. The progeny will do very well in life. I will not go into the details, but be sure on this. Saturn, Moon and Mars in the 10th is good, but it will depend how strong Saturn is. If Saturn is well placed, this planet conjunction will give a good impact. If Saturn is not well placed, it will reduce. Saturn is about profession, money, karma. Saturn's agents are Rahu and Ketu, and Rahu and Ketu govern your life. So if Saturn is good, if Moon and Mars is there, Saturn is good, excellent. 10th house is governed by Saturn. Moon and Mars in 11th house, again, If Saturn is good, it will give you very good result as far as your material wealth is concerned. May not be good, very good for progeny, but it, as far as your material wealth is concerned, be very good. And today, with advancement of things, progeny, etc., I mean, people, if you look at the books, before they used to say that, you know, cesarean used to be typified as, you know, लोहा का इस्तेमाल होगा. Iron will be used, you know, to pull out a child. You know, they used to pull out a child from the head. So iron is to be used. It's to be a big thing. But if astrology has to be done in the line of what is happening today. I mean, today is the world of artificial intelligence. It's the world of Rahu. So you have to see it in that way. So that way, Saturn, Moon and Mars in the 11th house, if Saturn is well placed, or even if it is not well placed, it will give you riches. The best house to have Moon and Mars is in the 12th house. I mean, Chandrama and Mangal, Moon and Mars is 12th house. It will give you money. You will spend the money in the right way. You will know how to, you know, lead a good life. You will travel. You will spend on religious activities. A very good balance in a very good way. Mars is very good in 12th house, and Mars is Mangal. That is, we call it Mangal. And if they are in the 12th house, and where you have the energies of Jupiter, and you have the negative energies of Rahu also. But Rahu is totally controlled by Mars. So you have only the positive energies of Jupiter and Mars and Chandrama. With Rahu being totally controlled, it's a very good thing. People debunk the 12th house, but Moon and Mars in 12th house, I've seen, is very good. It is very good. It increases your status and your levels. Now, certain things which I have observed is that whenever Moon and Mars are there in the 9th house, it gives you sudden death, just a sudden death, you know, cardiac attacks, whatever. Moon and Mars in the 10th house will give you a sudden death, but due to a reason. You get bad news, a child may die, you may not be able to, bear a financial loss. Some negative news, some impact of some negative news creates sudden death. So that is the difference I've seen in the nature of death when Moon and Mars is in the 9th house or in the 10th house. Moon and Mars, I've told you earlier. If you don't, I had told you, I'll talk to you towards the end. Moon and Mars in the 4th house, when it is there and aspected in 10th house by its enemies, it spoils the character of a person. Now, depending on which planet is there, if Venus is there, it will have a different impact. If Mercury is there, a different impact. I mean, the planets which are inimical to Moon and Mars, if they are there, they can have different impact. So, depending on that, right from your character, if you call it, say, talk about relationships, etc., then that is possible. And also, character in terms of a person who cannot be relied upon. That is what a character of a person is. That if he cannot be relied upon to the extent of 60%, I would say the character of the person is not good. 60 out of 100 is minimum. So that is what it does when it has there. And the last thing which I want to tell you is Moon and Mars is a good combination. It is milk with honey. So intrinsically a good combination. But Moon and Mars, if anywhere, and you have Saturn also in the 10th house, it elevates this conjunction to a very great extent. It makes you do actions, it makes you to do karmas, which are good. It makes you to walk the right direction. It makes you not to change paths. It adds to the ease of success. ease of not success without working, but ease of success by working. Because astrology is all about you're born with a balance sheet, as explained to you, and then so on and so forth. Your karmas are very important. That is extremely important. Your character is made by the environment. Your actions are made by environment and by your parents. It's a deep science which we need to integrate. There are certain missing links which are there, which we need to, which I'm working on, and there are books which have been destroyed, which explain that. I mean, it's so it is there. So what is important is you have to understand that this combination is good, but it becomes par excellent when you have Saturn in the 10th house. When you have Saturn in the other houses, you have to see it how Moon and Mars is placed from Saturn. 6th, 8th and 12th are not good, especially the 8th house. I will not go in that details now because then it could be a never-ending video. This is pointers. I want you to research on them. I want you to tell them to me. I've already told you about myself, and do write to me. Thanks. With this, I sign out. It is the second day of Ganesh Chaturthi. It's early morning, 5:30. When I started making the video, it was 4 o'clock. I made it once, it disappeared. So again, I made it second time. Again, I repeated the same things, and so it was made. I made it at the right time. I mean, started making it at the right time, and I'm sure you would benefit from it. And may Lord Ganesha help you in evading your difficulties and giving you the wisdom to walk in the right direction. And those who are not in the right direction may get some other path on which they walk to reach their goals and their desires. Thanks. Bye for now. Namaskar.